All right, for those of you who are already watching, I'm going to give it about 5 more minutes for some more people to come in before we get going. Once again, the lighting here down the basement is crappy, but it is what it is. Hey, Paul, how's it going? Gonna get going here in just a few minutes. It's giving some time for some more people to come in. I'm doing really well tonight, even though it's cold and snowy and not the best weather outside. Yeah, I was hoping we'd wait a little bit longer, but it is what it is. Most of ours melted off today, but we got a little bit more last night, so grass is still green. Fortunately, I haven't had to do any outside work since it started snowing, so other than shoveling, which didn't take long. Yeah, I haven't put mine together yet either. Tomorrow I'm taking it out to the shop tomorrow night, and we'll get both snowblowers running tomorrow or on Wednesday. All right, 2 more minutes, and then we'll get going with my topic of discussion for this evening. Hey, welcome back, No Way. All right, oh, there we go. It's 8:05. I'm going to get going on whatever it is that I was planning on talking about tonight. And what it was that I've seen a lot of comments on different message boards saying, don't buy that Chinese lathe or that Chinese mill, or that Atlas or Craftsman lathe, or that round column mill. Don't buy that one. You want a Bridgeport or a South Bend, and there's a lot of areas around the country where machine tools and used tools of any kind are really slim. I happen to live in one of them. And you know what? Go out and buy the equipment that you can now to do what you want to do. Don't wait until find the perfect machine. I waited a long time. I searched for a long time before I found the Sheldon, and same thing with the Index mill. That was 9 months after I found the lathe, I found a mill. But I've been looking for years, and every time I use the lathe or the mill, I kick myself for passing up some of the deals that I passed up, because having one in the shop just makes it worth having. Even if it's not the best machine, you can ask any competent machinist, and they'll say the machine doesn't make that much of a difference. It's the machinist who makes good parts. And I've kind of learned that myself over the last year, that Sheldon lathe may not be the most rigid or best lathe out there, but I can make some pretty darn good parts on it. That's very true, No Way. You find what you can find. And a lot of it's the Snap-on tool debate as well. Yeah, Snap-on makes great tools, but you're paying way more for the tool than a comparable tool for the service. If you don't work in a shop and you don't have a Snap-on driver showing up every week to swap out your broken tools, Snap-on's worth no more than any of the other Proto, SK, any of the other good industrial brands. So why spend that extra money for Snap-on when you can buy a comparable tool for less money and get as good of a tool that you have to send off for warranty? Because a Snap-on, you got to send off for warranty if that truck driver isn't showing up at your place every week. So that's what my thoughts were on this, is just get the tools that you need to build and create and do, and don't worry about getting the best tool or machine to do what you want to do. The tools that I have, machine tools, they're not the best ones out there. Yeah, I've seen the AVE videos on testing the ratchets and the wrenches. Guess what? He proved that even the cheap wrenches were capable of torquing fasteners past their specifications. That's right, Paul. Rather use a cheap tool than no tool. Just don't let other people drive your decisions on what you should get. You can take suggestions. Hey, is this tool a good tool, or is it a piece of crap? Well, I had one of those. It's a piece of crap, but it'll get the job done. Harbor Freight comes to mind. Or, hey, I had that tool and it worked great for years. So you just got to, pick your battles and think with your wallet. Don't go into debt to buy something that's going to be beyond what you can do. The thing with a lot of tools, you can sell them for just about what you paid for them. They're not going to decrease that much in value as long as you take care of them, especially machine tools. So, I bought a Sheldon lathe. It's a little bit small for a lot of the stuff that I want to do, but it'll do it. And if I get a good deal on a larger lathe that's in good condition, I'll go ahead and send that Sheldon down the road and put the bigger lathe in his place. That's very true, Paul. And the Pittsburgh Pro line has a lifetime guarantee on it, so it's not that much different than any of the other brands. I got high hopes for Stanley Black & Decker buying Craftsman. I hope they move the manufacturing, or a good majority of the manufacturing, back to the States and start producing good tools again. And I've lost a lot of really expensive tools over the years. I know where some of them are. I know there's a really, really, really nice combination square inside a wall where I dropped it. No way to get it back without cutting open the wall. Well, I wasn't cutting open a customer's wall, so it's gone. For those of you who are watching and haven't checked out Paul's channel, he makes really good videos. Way better than mine. Different type of content, but way better video quality. And editing. Yeah, editing. This live is nice. I don't have to edit it. I just let it go. I suppose I should look at the camera. I'm kind of watching the screen on the laptop so I can see your comments. That might make it better. Me feel like I'm actually talking to somebody, even though it's only my own picture on the screen of the phone. Nope, they're better. The editing, the video quality, the humor, that's all better. I was having a discussion with some guys on a message board about standard versus metric. That's a good point, Chad. I don't know if I build better stuff. I build different stuff. Mine tends to be a tad bit heavier than the stuff that you work on, Paul. But, so we're having this discussion, standard versus metric, and I'm in the U.S. I do standard. All my measuring tools are in standard. I think I have one tape measure that has metric on one side of it. But I was making a joke. And I said the only time that I intentionally use metric is when the missus wanted to measure Mr. Johnson, and I gave her a tape measure that only had millimeters. Okay, Paul, but you know what? You're learning, you're just starting out welding, and you give you props for getting out and doing what you're doing. And, you got to learn somewhere. None of us came into this world knowing how to do this stuff. Everybody had to learn at some point. And the fact that you're out there trying to learn and doing it versus just sitting behind a keyboard telling other people not to do it, that's great props to you. Yeah, you got to throw in some baling twine though, or some or some mechanics wire. I can't even count how many things I've fixed with mechanics wire. I had a 75 CJ7. The exhaust was literally falling out and rusting out, but I was young and poor and couldn't really afford to fix it. So I went into my mom's kitchen. Didn't live at home anymore, but I went into my mom's kitchen and made myself a can of soup so I could take the can, took it out to the Jeep, wrapped it around the exhaust pipe, mechanics wire, cut the can down the side, slipped it over the pipe, used mechanics wire to hold it in place. It lasted for a couple of years. Sometimes you just have to get things done. Not necessarily be done right, but they need to be done now. As long as it isn't for a client or customer, shortcuts are just fine. Yep, coat hangers work really well. I've done that. Just don't use zip ties. They tend to melt, and then it falls off again. I actually held in a gas tank once with coax cable just to get it out to the shop where I could work on it. But it was coax cable holding the gas tank in. Yeah, but you don't drive that van every day, do you? Well, at the time I was installing satellites full time, and I had lots of coax cable. Well, heck, I still have lots of coax cable. Well, everything's got a hammer side. Why is my screen scrolling? I'm missing your comments here. If I missed something, I'm sorry. My screen stopped putting comments up for some reason. So let's see. What else did I want to talk about tonight? Beyond getting the proper equipment. Doesn't have to be the best equipment, but just the proper equipment to get a job done. Um, or to start a job, to do anything. I bought some really crappy tools at local little hardware stores, mom and pop places. If you picture northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, uh, northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, you draw a line east to west through Pine City, north to south through Brainerd, and north to south through Hayward, and Canada at the top. That was my service area for about 20 years. Put a lot of miles on. And a lot of those areas, there's not a whole lot there. And when I first started that in 94, yeah, there was a kind of a home center in Hibbing, Minnesota, one in Brainerd, a couple in Brainerd, but not a whole lot. So you got to get a tool. You break a tool or you lose a tool or it's missing. You go buy what's available. Well, that's cool. No way. I don't have any of those. Of course, I've only got two indicators too. So one's on a mag base that I use on the lathe for doing linear measurements, and the other one's for setting up the lathe. One of my companies that I contracted for was in Brainerd, and I got to drive out there every Tuesday for 2 years. Had to be there at 7 a.m. 2.5 hour drive. That was fun. Get up at 3 a.m. and drive to Brainerd, pick up materials and have a meeting, and then take off and go do some work. I'm assuming this thing's still working. Oh, Starrett and Brown and Sharp, good ones too. My luck, I'd find Lufkin or something, or some Chinese crap, which might get the job done, but it's still crap. Oh, is she one of those people who was trying to save the frogs? They had a big frog thing out there back in the early 2000s. There would be a fun job. Right up there watching paint dry. Yeah, if you look at most flatbeds, they're not DOT approved uh, on pickup trucks. Uh, very few of them are. Yeah, and I was the client was actually looking at aluminum ones, and he said, "Why am I going to pay all this money for an aluminum flatbed that doesn't have a DOT standard, isn't approved by or a DOT certification on it?" Wasn't pretty hard on you in my reply either. Just if you make a comment, say why, because if you don't say why, then nobody knows. Yeah, that's different, Paul. That's a vehicle inspection. Would be a load inspection. Yeah, I worked long and hard on the design so I could use those original bolt holes. I did have to make one of them bigger off camera because it warped a little bit while welding, so I had to go up a size so I could get the bolt in. Yeah, that's what I like about Minnesota too, Paul. I can do the same thing. Yeah, whenever I do flatbeds or something, I try to use the original bolt holes and original mounting locations for everything. Just a lot easier than trying to butcher up a frame. And most of these frames are built. The standard that they build them to is just enough to get it to do what it needs to do. And you start putting extra holes in them, and suddenly you've got weak spots. And like I said, they're not any stronger than they need to be. Same thing with receiver hitches. You notice that all the new receiver hitches that you buy, they're designed to use original mounting holes. The only hitches that I've installed lately that don't use original factory holes are fifth wheel hitches and gooseneck hitches. Yeah, that's kind of scary sometimes because you're putting for fifth wheel hitch or the gooseneck hitch, you're putting four extra holes in each frame rail, and not small ones either. Usually it's a 5/8 inch hole, two of them or four of them on each frame rail to mount the hitch to. So it can do a little bit of damage. Yeah, they used to do a lot of that too. You take it into a shop to have it have a hitch mounted, and they would just weld it in place. They didn't want to go through the work of drilling the holes and mounting it properly, so they just weld it in place. I get that's a beef. If you're building something that has casters on it, make caster plates and bolt the casters on because the casters are going to die, and they may not die on you, but they're going to die on somebody. And having to cut casters off so you can weld new ones on instead of just taking out four bolts and replacing it. Yeah, that is a little bit over built there, Paul. A class 5 on a half ton. My service truck, it has a class 4 on it. The 3/4 ton has a factory class 3 on it. Same thing with trailers. If you're putting a hitch on a trailer, what I do is I usually drill the mounting holes, or I tack it in place. I drill the mounting holes, and then I bolt it on. Tacks are really easy to cut. Hitches get damaged all the time. Actually, I think those are bolt holes, not plug weld holes. Thanks for joining us, Chad. Have a great night. Always good to see another build video on YouTube. I'll just about hit my half-hour time limit here. So either you guys are going to have to bear with me as I have a cigarette, or you're and watch me, or you can leave. Up to you. So no way. Every time somebody on the machinist groups do live chat, I see you in the chat. Do you watch any other style of videos? Any other welding? All right, Paul. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night. Should have aligned the phone and the laptop a little bit better so I could see both of them at the same time. So I'd be talking to the phone, but able to read the comments. Yeah, Chucky has always he's actually been doing some better videos lately, fixing some tractors and doing some other stuff that aren't so commercial-ish. Kind of like Alex Steele. For a while there, he was all commercial, 100% commercial, and too much yak yak, not enough whack whack. But Chucky's gotten a little bit better over the last couple of months, I've noticed. I think the same thing. It's not my good friends at on every video. Oh, that's weird. Welcome, Furworks. Yeah, that happened on South Main Auto's video to me. Their live stream about a week ago did the same thing. So actually, next week I get a chance to meet the guy from RetroWeld at FabTech. Kind of looking forward to that. But they make it really easy if you're using your phone. You just click a couple of buttons and you're good to go. You don't need any special stuff. For the laptop, I needed some kind of video converter thing and tried to get that work, and it just couldn't get it working. So what we were talking about was not necessarily buying the best tool to get a job done, but buying a tool to do a job. You know, be it Chinese or old or Atlas lathe versus Clausing. You know, just get out there and buy the tool that you need to do the job. You can always upgrade later, but don't worry about it being, you know, the best tool. Not everybody can go out and buy a Monarch lathe. I know I can't. Way out of my budget. But unless I found a piece of crap, beat up one, and rebuilt it. But this area of the country, lathes don't fall off trees like they do in some areas. And same thing with the Snap-on tools. You know, unless you have the truck coming to your house every week, you're better off buying Proto or SK or Old Craftsman, or, you know, something that's going to do the job well, but you don't have that service. I waited way too long to buy a lathe and a mill. I had chances to buy some, you know, years ago. But they weren't perfect. They weren't exactly what I wanted, and I'm kicking myself every time I use the lathe for not buying one sooner, even if it wasn't the perfect one. I'm so much happier having one than not having one. And for me, it's added so much capability to the shop, and I can do so much more stuff that no more making bushings on the lathe with a file, or I mean on the drill press. Well, it's the same thing as you know, you can't get a Craftsman, but you know, any of the other industrial tools, you're in the same boat. You gotta go ahead and, you know, order it no matter what, and you got to send it in for a replacement, just like you would with Snap-on, because the truck doesn't come to your house. Well, it doesn't really make a difference. You know, buy the tool to get the job done. Now, granted, there are some places that carry Grainger carries Snap or Craftsman Industrial, so you can get it there and exchange it there. But we don't even have a Grainger in town anymore. They closed about 2 months ago and moved out. So now the closest Grainger to me is 2.5 hours away. I might as well go chase the Snap-on truck. I'm still trying to figure out how to make good machining videos. The difference between how much of it to show and how little of it to show, because and how if I should run it high speed or show it normal speed, because good lord, some of this, you know, your machining stuff, it takes a long time for some of this stuff. It doesn't happen just boom like that, like it does cutting a piece of wood. There's a fine line in there somewhere, and I just haven't found it yet. And some of the machining videos, like when I made the IV stand camera mount, I thought that video sucked. I really did. The thing works great, but I think the video for it, just I wasn't happy with it at all. It just didn't have something. I don't know what it was. Most of my videos, I can actually watch my own video. That one, I turned it off halfway through. You have to go back and check it out. I took an old IV stand and made a boom arm for it, so I can adjust the camera right over what I'm working. I can reach from one end of the lathe over to the headstock, and I can come in from the side on the mill and over the welding table and come straight down on welds. If you check the Lincoln 210 MP update review I just did, it came out today. The stick welding, I used that so I could reach directly over and look straight down on the weld as I was welding. It's come in very handy. It's been a really nice tool. It needs some upgrades. I didn't make it a finished product by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, I had the IV stand, and I was really tired of running into the legs on the tripod because they stick out so far. Uh, I had a couple of IV stands left over from my father, and took one of them and made that out of it. I've got to stiffen it up a little bit. It has a little bit of wobble to it with that boom arm on there. The boom arm is 48 inches long, I believe. It's 36 or 48. So that camera hanging out on the end of it makes it bounce a little bit. So I've got to put kind of a tripod stand to the wheels to stiffen up the main post. And right now I just have a part of a 5-gallon bucket cut off filled with metal scraps as a weight on the bottom. And so I'm going to be replacing that. And then I want to replace the casters as well. I hope you're making a video of that first so we can see how you do it. So it's always interesting to see new equipment, no matter what it is. I know a lot of people aren't interested in camera mounts, but other YouTubers are. So yeah, so I got to replace the casters too. The original casters are a little bit small for the shop floor. You know, you run it sliding it along the floor, and you run into a bigger metal chip or something, and it kind of the wheel stops, and so I'm gonna get some bigger casters for it as well. But so far, it's working pretty good. And once again, sorry about the darkness of the video. I'm in the basement again. Not that it's much brighter in the rest of the house because we have low wattage LED bulbs in all the lamps. So if you need to do something, you got to get some serious task lighting. And no, my videos are not sponsored by Mountain Dew. They should be because they get product placement in every video, but gotta stay awake somehow. And I don't like coffee. Yeah, you know, I have an old halogen work light here at home, and I plugged it in earlier. Both bulbs are burnt out. That was my plan. I was gonna add some extra lighting here, and no go. And I don't even have my little rigid battery powered ones. They're both at the shop right now. What I need to do is pick up a couple more of those 4-foot LEDs from Home Depot, the ones I used in last week's video, hang underneath the hood of my son's truck so I can see the engine. I need to get a couple of those for down here, but just haven't done. This room's not done yet because my wife and kids took it over, and instead of being a little workshop, it's a storage shop with a little bit of a workbench in it. How's the audio? Is the audio okay on my phone? I didn't ask that last time I had a live stream. Yeah, I was really surprised at how much light that put off. I actually really impressed. It's the first time I pulled it out. I bought that light. Actually, I bought two of them because they had a 2-for-1 sale. You buy one, got one free, or one half price or something. And I got it to hang one over the lathe when I redo the lathe stand. Hey, Junk Man. Glad you made it. So the original topic of conversation is that you don't necessarily need to buy the best tool to do the job. You need to buy the tool to do the job. Be it a Chinese lathe versus an old American lathe, round column mill instead of a square column mill. Just buy what you need to do to get the job done, and you can always upgrade later if it's not working out for you. But you can't do anything at all without it. So you doing a live stream tomorrow night? What time are you starting? I gotta head out to the shop at some point tomorrow, but I'm gonna wait till my wife gets home from her training class, and she's got about 2.5 hour drive, so I'm expecting she'll be home between 7 or 8 or something like that. All right, well I should be able to catch at least part of it then tomorrow night. I didn't even buy any candy to hand out. Youngest son is going to be off trick or treating himself. Daughter's working, and I don't feel like watching the door. Yeah, I didn't turn it on. Uh, it's I couldn't figure out how to turn it on the phone, but because I'm using the phone to broadcast this, I still didn't get the encoder or whatever it is working right on the laptop. I worked on it for about an hour this afternoon and couldn't get it working right, so I just decided to use the phone again. Pretty easy. Couple of buttons, boom, done. Here, tell me what. If you really want to pay me back, donate it to Habitat for Humanity. OBS. Don't know what that is. Let's see. Which encoder did I download? Give me just a second here. I have to find it in my list here. I don't see it in my list here anywhere right at the moment. Oh, XSplit is the one that I downloaded. There it is. XSplit Broadcaster. It's highly recommended. I can't make it work. Yeah. Anyways, I couldn't get it to work, so gave up. My phone works pretty good. Camera's not too bad on it. If I had better lighting in here, it would be better, but I've got one 60-watt fluorescent bulb. Next time, Ferd asked earlier, I had tried to set up some auxiliary lighting down here, and both bulbs were burned, halogen bulbs were burned out. So, but at the shop, I could pick, one of 20 different auxiliary lights sources, but here at home, just don't have anything. Well, there we go. No kids here for me to scare, though. Well, where's the fun in that, Fur? Okay, so yeah, building stuff is my hobby. I've said that many times. It doesn't make a difference what it is. That's my hobby. It can be something for the shop or something for some outside the shop, whatever. But building stuff is my hobby, so doing it from scratch is kind of the way that I roll. Unless it's really stupid not to buy it. I mean, there's some stuff that you know it's a real no brainer not to buy it. So, what kind of candy is everybody handing out this year? Got to know whose house I have to swing past. Okay, not going to Junkman's house. He hands out the cheap stuff. I want the guy who hands out the full size candy bars. Actually, there's a guy over on Garage Journal that does hot dogs and hot cocoa and all kinds of stuff. That's down in southern Wisconsin. I might swing past his house. Leftover Easter candy. When I was a kid, we lived in a big house, really big house, and my mom refused to hide eggs. She'd hide jelly beans because the one year that she tried to hide eggs, we missed one of them and found it about 6 months later. Yeah, 1,000 hot dogs. It's like, well, what's everybody else going to eat if I show up? Okay, I don't think I eat 1,000 hot dogs. I did eat 23 tacos one night at a taco bar. Yeah, she miscounted or figured that I ate one of them or something, and yeah. So after that, they hid jelly beans. So we got to find jelly beans, not eggs. Maybe that's why I don't like jelly beans. I think I actually ate a fuzzy one time. So I'd find all the jelly beans and give them to my sister. Little jelly beans all over the house. The big house, a lot of ornate woodwork, lots of furniture, lots of places to hide jelly beans or eggs. But yeah, she wouldn't do the eggs again. If I'm not looking at the camera, because it's easier for me to read the comments on the computer screen versus on the phone, because they don't go away on the computer screen; they go away on the phone. Wow, this is going quick. 51 minutes. So, Junkman, you're talking about a boom mic. Uh, what kind of mic do you use for a boom mic? I've been thinking about getting one of those dead cats to put on top of to use on top of the camera because I can't stand using the lavalier mic. I tried it and it just drove me nuts. It was always seemed to be brushing against my beard or um, since the hat goes off and on all the time. And well, somebody told me it would help with the echo in the shop. So does anybody have a recommendation on a microphone to mount on the camera? Yeah, because I'm looking for something that so people can hear me over the machine tools. And like I said, the lavalier mic was just absolutely drove me nuts trying to use that, and then it stopped working, so I had an excuse not to use it anymore. Oh, hence for using the reason for using a boom mic. The last few videos, mine hasn't been too bad. Echo. It's worse when I have the garage door open. For some reason, having the garage door open right up there above the work, right next to the work area, it reflects the sound down, and I get more echo. And then I got to play with the video volumes and whatnot to get rid of it. There we go, reconnected. Sorry about that. I think the kids are hosting a. Got some of my bad, so I'm getting a very bad connection error. I'll have to check that out for and see what I can find. Okay, my connection seems to be better again. So I'm pretty far away from the router here too. So opposite corner of the house and down a floor. You think a guy who does that stuff for a living would be able to fix that, right? I'll have to check into those and see. Kind of blew my tool and toy budget though. We're going to FabTech next week, so then you get within 50 miles of downtown Chicago and nothing's cheap. Should actually put a. I might have to go back to a lavalier, but I really don't want to. But again, maybe if I buy a better one. The last one I bought was pretty inexpensive. I think it was $23. So highly rated on Amazon though. I know most of the YouTube machinists use lavalier mics just so they can be heard over the machines. What's that for? And Yeah, I tried that. The problem was that when I'm welding, I take off my hat so often that it was just a pain. Yeah, so I had a hat on earlier, but then you couldn't see my face at all. That's probably a good thing, actually. When you guys are filming, do you ever feel like you're just standing there talking to yourself? Sometimes it freaks me out when I'm alone in the shop, and or even worse when somebody else is in the shop. One of my boys is in the shop with me, and I'm talking to the camera, and they're looking at me like I'm an idiot. The dog does that all the time. She looks at me like, "Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me?" No, I'm talking to the people out there. Of course, my kids look at me like I'm an idiot all the time, anyways, because one's a teenager and two of them are older. And then they come back and say, "Oh, I should have listened to you, Dad." Paul. Is it gonna work this time? Yeah, I'm getting connection signal, and it just won't go away. Have a great night.